What's up YouTube, this is Mathwas97 and welcome to another Behind the Universe video. This time, as you can tell by the title, we are looking at how I make my universe mode. Now before we actually get into this video, I want to say that this is not in place of the Universe Mode 101 video, where I plan on talking more about how, certain tips and tricks that you could take into consideration when editing your universe mode. But people have asked me how I do my stuff, so I figured Behind the Universe is good for showing more example-based stuff rather than tutorials. So I figured, why don't I make a video while making a video? So yeah, today we're gonna chronicle my typical process for making a universe mode video. I don't want this one to be as long as the other ones. So I think I'm just gonna edit an individual match, but just to give you a quick look, obviously this is my universe mode timeline at the moment. This is, okay, no wait, oh, the song ended, that's why. I need to pick a different song, because I just thought my audio cut out. And now we have a blooper, I guess, so let's use a different, this is just terrible now. So obviously this is my universe mode timeline. At this point we're up to what episode? I just edited episode 53. I'm recording this before even episode 52 was published, but it goes up later today, so that's where this timeline looks at right now. This isn't the greatest way to do this, I am well aware. Editing it all in one timeline is not smart, because especially when you get to a timeline this big and you hit the undo button, then it has to reprocess all the clips. And just loading everything is kind of slow. I really need to get out of this habit of just doing everything in one timeline, but I think it's convenient because then I have access to everything all in one place. Maybe I should just get a different editing program that isn't Sony Vegas. Over here you see the stuff that I haven't edited, which is episode 54, episode 55, sitting pretty right there. And I haven't even recorded episode 56 yet, but yeah, everything usually ends up in this one timeline. But today we're just gonna be looking at editing. Well, I would like to just do an individual match, but I kind of want to show you just a brief overview of how everything works, how I edit my stuff. So obviously you see here, we open with the show intro. Usually, depending on how, this one was weird because the way that the location would come up. I didn't want to show Triple H's full entrance in this one, but I did it because if I had cut it a different way, it wouldn't show originally I wanted to just ignore that completely, but then it wouldn't show the location, and I like to show where we're coming from. But then if I had tried to cut it a different way, this would have still been there. So I just did it this way. Then it's just a simple audio fade. So yeah, crowd cutaways, you use them. For promos, if anybody's curious how to get that to work, it's really simple. I know other editing programs have a sort of pan crop or transform feature like this. This is what it was before. And yeah, you just zoom in on it, and that's how you get the cutscene. People ask me how I make my promos. This is a simple graphic I made in Photoshop. It's not a very good one, I don't think. I would like to revamp it for 2K18 to make it look, because I've seen people like Skino and Murphs and Delzinski, their graphics look a lot cleaner than this one. This one I made back in the WWE 2K16 days. I think I made it specifically for Fastlane, because that's when I started using this format. And then this is just a simple text layer where I just type out everything, and of course have to make sure that it lines up within the text box. But this one takes up like almost half the screen. I feel like I could have a smaller one, maybe shrink the font a bit, or maybe just include less of like a paragraph on screen and make it more just, because I know Murphs does sentence by sentence. Delzinski does, pretty big, like paragraph type things. So I don't know. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do for that moving forward. But then it's just, obviously you have to splice together the entrances. Here's Seth Rollins' entrance music going on in the background. More promo. Really the only significant thing here is when the segment ends, throw up the Raw transition there. Make sure that the audio fades through and then transition back. And then boom, we're at a match. And then, yeah, that goes on, and that's really just rinse repeat at that point. This was one of the post commentary recording segments that I did, where it's more of like, you know, update stuff. My latest creation, for whenever I don't have something to throw in to that space, where is it? It's right over here. Right there. So whenever I don't have the segment already, I just put this here. So that way when I'm recording commentary, it's something quick, but it also reminds me that, you know, the universe episode isn't finished. So if I ever upload a video and it says insert thing here, that means that I forgot to add something. Because, yeah, this is just a placeholder, and it's quick, so it's not like I have the full segment in there already when I'm doing commentary, so I don't have to render out the whole thing for the preview. But yeah, that's how everything looks at the end of the show, because then obviously it's basically just transition from segments and matches, go all the way up to the end, then we transition to this outro screen, which is just, you know, a little picture. I think this is from the WWE 2K16 Gold Rush tournament. That's what this background is. And then it's just a text layer, and the audio is down in the background. And of course, audio balancing is a really important thing. You can see I have 2 game audio tracks, because this is just in case I ever need to. Sometimes when I have to cut matches, I have to overlay like a ring bell sound effect because of how the match started or whatever. Or just certain sound effects I have to overlay with more like crowd-related stuff. So that's why I have 2 game audio layers, although this is also where I throw in my outro music and other like promo bed music. And then we have, of course, the themes, which is obviously like CM Punk's entrance theme, Braun Strowman's, TJ Perkins, you know, all the entrance themes that aren't in the game. I just dropped the file in there. It already has, well, no, it doesn't have an arena effect. I have to add that using reverb. I played around with the settings here a little bit. I don't think this is necessarily the perfect setting I could use, but I can always adjust that a bit. When I used to record promos, like dialogue, that's what this effect was. So I'll use this for like my FAM promos, unless I do. No, I use the dialogue reverb for my FAM promos whenever somebody talks there. So that's enough with that file. I don't think I need that anymore. So here we're gonna go into actually me editing a match. And this is the part where I say, well, making a video while making a video. So obviously this is the unrendered file, well, not unrendered, the unedited file. So you get all the glorious load times from these cutscenes. It's just wonderful. So it really annoys me when there are certain cutscenes, like especially in the promo ones, where every so often they'll throw in a Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar promo. So you'll go through, like, they don't have them all grouped together, so you spend all this time loading the 2-person cutscenes, and it's just slowly, carefully going through them all. Because once they load the 2 people, it doesn't have to load a new scene, which is really nice. The load times are much slower, or I mean, they're much quicker, because they already have the models loaded. But then, as soon as you get to a Paul Heyman one, it just stops, and you have to do it again, and it's really annoying when they intermix them. So I'm just gonna skip past those little promo bits, because I don't think any of them affect this first match that I'm doing. No, because this is a tag team match. So, yeah, I haven't looked at this in a while. I probably should have done a bit more preparation as to how I want this episode to look in the final version. But, actually, I have a little document. Yeah, because I have this little document here where I keep all of my layouts for future episodes. We're not going to go down any further than that one, because that contains spoilers. But here we have, like, this is the episode of Raw, where it's, if I want a certain match to end away, or if, you know, little certain promo segments, any real production details that are important here. Like here it says, you know, that's obviously the stipulation for the match, is it's a #1 contenders match. Any important information I need to include in a promo gets dropped in here. So, like, I don't plan out my promos all in advance. Like, I'll usually type them up as I'm editing the video. but I usually will have a couple important, like, I have a couple key points in this document. So like how Cena's complaining about not having a match after beating Roman Reigns. That's sort of an important bit from that promo, but not like it's not a full promo written in here. Usually I come up with them as I go. And yeah, then I have these little cutaway segments, which will have, you know, certain announcements or like the Dean Ambrose arrival promo, and yeah, that stuff. So this one just opens straight up with the Lucha Dragons and the Dudley Boys. You know, usually, at least lately, I've been starting off with a segment, but this time we started off with an episode. So I just have to go through this, find the Raw opening. Now, I guess I'll pose the question here. I personally don't think it's necessary, but do you think that I should start making like show openings? I know a lot of people do them. I think, in fact, most people do them. But I feel like it's kind of tedious just to sit through the same opening over and over again. With, like, even if people update their openings, I just kind of want to see the wrestling. I want to see the show. I want to see what that's... Like, I want to see what's new to the show. And I feel like sitting through a 30, 40-second opening, I feel like it's kind of wasting my time. But that's just me personally. And also, like, I mean, I could make the show opening. I understand that it adds a layer of, like, immersion because it makes it look more like an actual show. But I don't know. I personally have never felt as though it's necessary, which is why I've never done a show opening. I just fade into the show. Just start here, because that way you're just getting straight into the action. You don't have to worry about seeing this repeated intro over and over. I don't know. I don't really have anything against people who do show openings. I just personally don't want. I don't think it's necessary to do one for myself. So as you saw there, it's just you have to. I just cut from crowd shot to crowd shot. It's more tricky with SmackDown because the way that their two crowd shots go, they're very similar. So cutting them together is sometimes a hassle. And then just making sure the audio fades in the background so it's not just a straight cut, because it sounds really jarring. So usually I'll just kind of scroll through like this. Sometimes I'll let it play through and I'll just end up watching the match back and just wait for errors. Sometimes I just kind of scan through like this. I don't really think there's a faster way to do it. I guess this is technically faster, but if I sit through and watch the whole thing, then I'll immediately recognize what's a mistake and what isn't. So one of the things I usually try to look out for beforehand is look for these little audio breaks, because usually if I make a mistake and it's very early into the match, I'll just restart like you saw there. And then, well, the stupid part about tag teams is that, like, only with tag team matches do all the entrances have to load again. So it's just a matter of skipping through all of this to get back to where I want to be. In a situation like this, because it's a tag team match and I want the transition to look nicer, I might cut the footage there, or sometimes I'll cut the footage just when it gets back to this match. Yeah, and then this one frame lighting transition, they always annoy me, so I always try to skip past them. But usually, because it's only one frame, you don't notice. But you know, when you watch it in playback, it just looks a bit wonky. Actually, is there another? No, that's not a pause. That's just audio stuff. So I think that's the only real skipping point. Yeah, this goes all the way through to the end. So I guess this video. Oh right, that's right. This matchup was trickier because the Outcasts interfered during it. Obviously, this video is not going to be uploaded until I have made this video, or at least until I've published it. So, because there's an interference during the match, I'm gonna have to cut to the Outcasts making their entrance. But I also have to make sure with like this crowd shot, I can't show the ring. So I'll probably have to do a weird zoom effect on that just to cut straight to the crowd. So for right now, I'm just gonna cut there. I'm gonna skip all the way ahead to the end of this segment, right before the next one begins. And usually this is where I'll just split the footage. because I'll obviously still have to edit all the other matches, but since we're not using that footage, I'll just delete it. So now I know where my endpoint is, I know where I need to get to. And in fact, I'm gonna stop just before that, yeah, just before that pops up. So right about there, we're gonna cut that off. What I just did there, I used the Alt key and the ending bracket to trim end. Otherwise you can right click and it brings up all the settings there. Like I said, this isn't meant to be a tutorial, so if I just kind of speed through some things, I do apologize, but that's just how I'm doing things. So I had to get this lined up because I needed to show Sin Cara walking over to Jack Swagger. Well, really just walking over to the Outcasts, because they're, you know, the angle that's going on between Sin Cara and the Outcasts, and technically I guess just the Lucha Dragons in general. But because all three Outcasts were there, I'm not gonna show Jack Swagger in this scene. So I'm gonna skip as far ahead as I can before I end up cutting this off, which is right around there. So I'll just stop there. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to zoom in on Sin Cara for this. I know I'm editing out of order, but usually when I make these videos, I kind of do things as I go. So sometimes I do edit matches out of order. I don't always do things chronologically. Oh wait. So that's where I want to start, because he's coming from the other apron. Sometimes, you know, just the first cut, I don't always get things perfect the way I want them to be. This could probably, I could zoom in a bit more and move towards Sin Cara a bit, just to make the angle look like make it look more like it's focusing on him. But then I also have to go back and just check and make sure I'm not showing the ring, not showing like Kalisto or any of the Dudley Boys, because you don't want to break the immersion. Because if you show no one in the ring, then it's very obvious that oh yeah, I made a dumb mistake here and I accidentally hit the button to switch players. So okay, so I didn't end up redoing the walking take, so I'll probably just cut it together with maybe a crowd cutaway, or we might just jump back to the act. Probably what I'm gonna do, because I don't like to abuse the crowd cutaway, so I'll probably just jump back to the action in the ring and then cut back to Sin Cara doing his thing here. So that's it for that clip. Then we skip back ahead, of course, to the handicap match. Usually what I'll do when I'm trying to build up momentum, I'll put in frequent pauses just to remind me, like, hey, this isn't footage that you're supposed to use. This is you're still getting to that point. So we skip ahead, skip ahead, skip ahead. There's another spot coming up here with, yeah, and then it also gives me a way during the match to check momentum, because in this situation, I'm trying to get Bubba Ray Dudley to a finisher. So I want to make sure that I reach that point. So now, or did I skip past it? I might have skipped past it. Yeah, because right here, because, yeah, he goes for his finisher and then it gets countered. So I want to cut in right around, actually, I know exactly where I want to make the transition, because in the first match, well, let me delete all this nonsense. So going back to the first match, I have Bubba Ray hitting his finisher. So usually I find the best way to make the edit is look for like a reversal icon, something very distinct that'll pop up just to remind you, like, you know, something that's very clearly noticeable. Because you can try to match it up by the animation, but there are subtle frame-by-frame differences that you can't always pick up on. So in this situation, I'm gonna cut on the reversal icon. I think this was all garbage. I don't need that, so I can delete that. So then go back over to here, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna cut on that reversal icon. Or in this situation, I could cut at the camera cut in. Obviously, I have to crop it in to make sure that Sin Cara wouldn't be in the shot. So right there is where I'm gonna make the edit. Now, what I'll probably do just to make everything look nicer, although, you know, really, because it is shifting camera angles, I'll just move this out of the way for right now. Because it is shifting camera angles, I don't necessarily, like, if I play it out through here, it should look just fine. Yeah, I mean, it cuts just fine. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drag this clip up to the camera cutaway. So right there. And then I'll just zoom that back. And yeah, it looks just fine. Of course, obviously, I need to remove Sin Cara from the shot, which I will probably... I don't know exactly how I want to cut that together yet. I'm going to figure that out. That's the thing with editing, is that you can't always go into it with a plan. You have to adapt with the footage and figure things out from there. So let's get back to a more chronological order here. So the Dudley Boys have their entrance. Obviously, like, with this one, I knew there were certain edit points that I was looking for. So that's kind of why I did jump around a bit, which is what I'll sometimes do. I'll cut it up beforehand just to make sure that I hit all my marks before I actually get started, just so that I don't accidentally miss anything. Because what is really annoying is when you start to edit footage and think you have a good match going, and then to realize that while you were recording, you stopped and had, like, a better take later on that you were just supposed to use from the start, and you just end up wasting your time. So, in this situation, I think, yeah, because in one, he's pointing, and the other, he's not. And the cut wouldn't be as clean, so I'm going to... Nope, go back. Right there. Also, I should do this before I forget. Well, hold on. I'm gonna make the edit there. Just delete that. Before I do anything, I'm going to select all of this, go down to Group, Remove From. So now I can move the audio freely from the video, which is important, especially when I want to do just audio fade throughs. It's very important for stuff like that. Also, another thing I forgot. Always, when you're using Sony Vegas, I don't know if other video editing programs do this, but you want to go to Switches, disable resample, because if you don't do that, whenever there's movement in your footage, it looks terrible. Just go back and watch some of my early, really, anything from WWE 2K14 and then early 2K15, you know, whatever you pick. Anything before Payback. I didn't disable resample, and it's very obvious. You can very clearly see it. You can clearly see it in the footage, because whenever something moves, it just looks bad. I don't really know how to describe it. There's almost like a motion blur to it. So since I made an edit there, I want to fade over the crowd audio to make sure it transitions nicely. We cut to the Dudley Boys, and yeah, the match begins. So rather than playing through all of it, I'm gonna kind of skip through, because this way I can kind of control the pace. But I also don't want to go too fast, because I just want to make sure I'm processing everything that I'm seeing, everything that's happening. So far everything has been good. No real edits to make. Tag gets made to Sin Cara, and really this is most of what the editing is. It's just going through the footage, making sure that everything flows well. And it isn't really until you hit a certain point that, like obviously when you bot something or something just looks out of place, to try to fix that. But it all depends on how much editing you want to do. Like here, nothing has happened yet. I mean, the referee gets knocked over, but I mean, the ref is always getting in the way. So certain things you just kind of have to live with. Something like that. Like, I'm not going to redo a spot just because the ref got knocked over. I really don't care about the referee's well-being. Yeah, but so far this has actually transitioned pretty well. There hasn't really been any botches in this match. At least not yet, anyways. Yeah, his elbow didn't really connect, but I don't really have... You know, for something like that, I just let it go. It's annoying, but I'm not gonna nitpick over something like that. Like, he connected enough. But like when people like whiff with grapples and just like they completely miss, that kind of stuff annoys me, and I'll try to cut them out. But that's just talking about stuff other than botches. Like what just happened right there, that looked awkward. Yeah, because he just missed. So, okay, in this case, I just ran with it. there are certain times where I just don't care. Especially when I'm doing multiple takes. Like, if I just can't get a match down, I'll just let it go because I'll get fed up and I'll just deal with it. And usually for stuff like that, if it's only on like a rare occasion or two, people don't really complain. In fact, I think there's some of the stuff that I cut out now that I don't think people would complain about, but I still do it anyway because I'm a perfectionist. So no real issues so far in this matchup. I think this just goes on. Yeah, I think this just goes on until I have to make the edit with the outcasts. So he goes to the top rope, misses the 450 splash. Oh no, he hits the 450 splash. Things get a bit crazy there, but that's just tag team matchups. That move gets countered, and yeah, there's the edit. So now I need to figure out when I want the outcasts to jump in here. What I think is gonna happen, because obviously if I wanted to make the cut anywhere before this move, it's not possible, because Sin Cara is very clearly in the background, and there's no way that I can zoom in on Kalisto and not have Sin Cara be there. Like, I could do this, but I have to, obviously I need to zoom in so that that's not there. And this just looks awful. Like, I'm not doing that. That's just not an option. So this is gonna happen. I just need to selectively crop this footage. So I think after that gets countered, and then Kalisto does his sunset flip, and I guess we'll have the kick out there. No, I didn't want to click ahead. So go ahead. Right about, I want to make it before Bubba Ray gets up, because if it looks like Bubba's getting up, then I'm cutting away from the action. If it looks almost like a sort of static position, then that's a bit better. And then I think that footage is what I want. Yeah, so I'll just come back there. But what's gonna happen is I might end up changing this for the final edit, just because I don't know if this is exactly as perfect as I want it to be. So I want to remove that audio. I'm also not going to add in the Outcast music for this right now, just because I'll add that later for the actual video, but obviously I would throw that in here. And probably have it fade in during the action, just to kind of show that, oh, they're coming. They're making their way to the ring. So we'll do that. I obviously don't need the rest of this unless I just want the crowd audio, which maybe. But for right now, that's fine. So then I want to basically just ram these 3 clips together for right now, just so I can drag them all over. And so usually I'd fade in probably the Outcast music right around after that kick out, or maybe even a little before it. So now that I know that Sin Cara is going to be moving, I want to pretend, because he hasn't moved yet, so I want to pretend that he's still there. So I'll make an edit. Might be a little less than perfect. Something like that. You know, this is only a YouTube video, so I'm not too worried about things being, you know, completely perfect, as if like this was this isn't like a Hollywood movie or something. It's only going to my, okay, so maybe that's a bit too close. I could zoom out a bit. I still want to have the shot predominantly to the left. Or to the right, rather, because Sin Cara would be on the apron on the left. So this isn't the best, but it's good enough. So long as Sin Cara is not in the shot. There's still a little bit of room over there in the corner that he could be standing there. So Sin Cara does his move, or Kalisto does his move. And then I want to fade. I usually only do, hate when that happens. Usually only do about a second or so. So the Outcasts make their entrance. Gonna scroll ahead a little bit. Yeah, that's fine, just leaving it where it is. Then we cut to Sin Cara, because he's getting distracted by the Outcasts. So show him walking over. We'll have him, I guess, just maybe not show him stop walking, just kind of have him stop Oh, no. I'll have him stop walking just so that way we're not, you know, cutting on movement. Because I'm going to be cutting back to the ring. It's different. Usually, if I'm cutting from, like, the same shot, I like to cut on movement. Why is this not working for me? There we go. So I'll push that clip back out of the way. Go back to the in-ring action. Okay, so that I didn't push that back far enough. And Sin Cara makes his walk. We go back to Sin Cara, or Kalisto, in the ring. I want to fade that audio again. And yeah, so that looks just fine because now he's not in the shot. I don't have to do any funky camera edits. Now right here, that he actually gets off this Salida del Sol, and that was not the plan at all. Actually, I remember now what I did here. So that obviously I didn't want to hit because then I had to have Bubba Ray kick out, and I didn't want him to no-sell the Salida del Sol, so I decided not to do that. And then I didn't botch that. Yeah, because I just didn't like the way that looked. So I decided I had already made the mistake, so I just tagged into Devon because I wanted to build up to a 3D, which was obviously the finish of this match. So I just tagged in Devon, let him build up some momentum, and then I went back to where I was before. So I had to build up Kalisto's momentum so I could hit the signature. I decided not to do the Salida del Sol straight off the bat. I wanted to do the little kick first. So I already made the previous edit. This isn't exactly the cleanest. Sometimes I might try to make this a little more polished, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to cut straight to it. So I'll do, maybe not the full fade. I'll fade this back the other way just because I don't want to mess up the sound of Kalisto kicking him or any of that. So let's make sure that looks okay. That looks good enough. I know obviously in one, his grip is up a bit higher, but because it's cutting camera shots, it's not quite as noticeable. Actually, I don't like how it blurs for a second. Sometimes it blurs, but it doesn't always do that. Before it changes camera angles, sometimes it looks okay. In this instance, I don't think it does because it's only there for a frame, but I notice it. I don't think everybody would notice it, but because I'm editing the video, I see it. So that I think looks a bit better now that the blur's not there. But then again, I've been doing this for so long, I know what to look for, so I know when something looks off. And then he goes for the Salida del Sol. This time it gets countered. And I think that's the last edit of the match. This one wasn't quite as complicated as some of the others can get. I know I'm gonna have another blooper video coming out later on with just some funny stuff that come about. Yeah, there obviously you see the 3D, cut to the victory. Oh wait, I actually forgot about, that's right. So how I wanna do, I want to cut in the Sin Cara footage somewhere else in this. But there really isn't any room for it, because I go straight to the kick. I guess I could, what I think I'll do, since there was a kick, maybe just not to make the back and forth between Kalisto and Bubba Ray as quick as, I was trying to right click there, but I just missed. So that way it's not quite as rapid. I think I'll put an edit there. Just to, rather than showing Sin Cara just standing there after the Dudleys have won, I think I'd rather have him, continue to show him getting distracted during the match. Okay, so he's about to move. I can't get this clicking down today. So we'll trim that. Fade audio through. And then, yeah, we have Sin Cara staring down the Outcasts. I don't really think I need to hang on that shot for too long. So after he does the first little jump, I'll trim it there. And just to show a bit more progress with how things are going between Bubba Ray and Callisto, I'm going to probably, yeah, let's cut in as Callisto is doing his taunt. Oh my, I hit the Windows key and not the Alt key. Oh wait, but now it's, oh, that's an interesting feature that I've never, I guess I just didn't know you could do that. So apparently if you hit the Windows key and just, let me try that again. Let me try that with the audio. So if you hit the Windows key, no, that didn't do that. So how did I don't know what happened. I do not know what happened. Now I'm just messing everything up. I have no clue what I just did. Anyways, now I've lost my mind. See, this is why, oh man, this video, half an hour. I just looked over. I didn't want this video to be that long. Oh well. But yeah, just show a little bit of progress in the action, so that way it's not like they just stood around while the other stuff was happening. And then yeah, we go through the ending. I already cut it at the end. This is the part where I would put in the raw transition, and we'd fade the audio through with it, and then go to the next match or segment or whatever happens after that. And that is how I edit my matches. This was a much more simple match than some of the other stuff can be. I know the Tyson Kidd Cody Rhodes matchup was pretty interesting, but I don't really want to delve into editing a whole episode, because obviously just making this match took me this long with what I was doing. So before dragging this out any longer, I'm just gonna cut it off here. Like I said, I am still gonna have a Universe Mode 101 video, which is gonna be much shorter, much more compact, but I just kinda wanted to show you guys my editing process. So until next time, if you enjoyed this video, I'm not even outroing properly anymore. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, keep on YouTubing.